Welcome to Where Her Heart Speaks, a show designed to challenge and disrupt ineffective thoughts and behaviors to help you not only embody peace, joy, calm, and certainty, but also to help you live the life you've always dreamed of living. Where Her Heart Speaks with Coach Catherine begins now.
Welcome and welcome back. I'm Catherine James, international speaker, best-selling author, trauma-informed coach, and your host for this show, Where Her Heart Speaks. I want to talk to you this week about elevating your existence. If you had an opportunity to listen to the episode titled Cruising Through Expansion, you may have heard me talk about being off or taking off for the entire month of December. I did not just take off from my business or coaching, but I took off from nearly everything and everyone to the best of my ability. What I shared is that I had been called to just get quiet and get still. And so that is what I did for the entire month of December. I also want to say if you've been around me a while, if you've heard me speak, you have likely heard me encourage or talk about the word pause. Now, while on my break in December, what I'm going to call my mini sabbatical, I had many ideas and many thoughts about not only my pause, the pause that I was in at that moment, but also the imperative need for pauses in life. And I'd say that today, more than ever, we need to pause. We need to pause. There was a Harvard Business Review published in 2011, an article published in the Harvard Business Review in 2011. That article was simply titled, "The World is More Complex Than It Used to Be." Now, that was in 2011. That was before COVID, before climate change was taken seriously. That was before the current noted mental health crises. That was before we had to understand or learn about cybersecurity. It was before there was an understanding of global trauma, the Great Resignation, overturning of Roe v. Wade. That was before all of the things, all of the what I'm calling complexities that we are facing today. Globally, we are facing and trying to survive so many complexities. I believe that we must pause. And if we fail to pause, we will implode. We will implode. And cruising through expansion, that episode, I talked about controlling what you can control. And I shared how the only thing you truly have control over is your life. The only person you can truly control is you. So I asked the question, how are you controlling or not controlling your life? And I want to reframe that. How intentional are you about creating the life you desire to live? Astronaut Jim Lovell said there are people who make things happen, there are people who watch things happen, and then there are people who wonder what happened. I would venture to say that people who passively watch things happen and people who wonder what happened have relinquished their lives to someone or something else. Now, this could be knowingly or unknowingly, but they've basically given up their control of their lives. And I want to be clear here as I make that assertion. I do not make it from a place of judgment. Remember, the vast majority behave in manners automatically, and these are manners that keep them safe or make them feel as though they are safe. So they're behaving in manners and doing things unconsciously in most cases that are keeping them, their nervous system, their physiological body senses, making them to feel safe. Then there's a third group that Lavelle speaks of, the group where people make things happen. Now, on the surface, we can speculate that this group is more intentional and that this group is on top of, or they have not relinquished control over their life. They are in control of what's happening in their lives. We can make that speculation, and I will say that may or may not be the case, because for some, safety is actually found in making things happen. I know that that was the case for me. If I were not busy, if I were not doing things, if I were not constantly involved, constantly creating, constantly growing, I felt in my body unsafe. So here's my point here. Operating, navigating, and existing from your safe place isn't really safe. I would say it's stuck. And if you are okay with stuck, or stuck is your goal, then this is great. But if you're not okay with being stuck, if you're not okay with being stagnant, if that's not your goal, you have to do something different than what you're currently doing. Einstein said the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Where in your life do you know you need to do something different? Where in your life do you need to be more intentional? Today, you may or may not be able to answer those questions. I know for me, a few years ago, I could not answer those questions. All I knew was I did not like how I felt. And despite feeling unsettled, unhappy, and unfulfilled, I kept doing the same things and living the same way. And I hoped, I wished, I longed for things to change. It wasn't until I began to pause, cut out the external noise, what's happening on television, what's being said, the propaganda, what's taking place on social media, cut out the external noise and pull my answers from within, did I even gain an understanding of what it meant to be authentically intentional. And what I mean by that is taking action based on my listening to and being guided by that still quiet voice that lives within me. The inner parts of me. She is not afraid of being right or wrong. She does not care about what others think. She doesn't know confidence or arrogance. She just knows what it is and what it is that is in alignment with her and her purpose. That's what she knows. What's in alignment with her and her purpose. And again, it wasn't until I paused that I was able to connect with that part of me. It wasn't until I paused that I was able to be authentically intentional. Now, as a leadership coach, I'm aware that some may be hearing what I'm saying and saying that sounds, or thinking that sounds a bit woo woo. I get that a lot as I am speaking to individuals about the type of work that I get. That sounds woo woo. And I want to say to you that there is nothing at all woo woo in what I'm saying. And if you find that you're having that conversation or that thought, I want to give you a different lens. Being guided by that still, quiet voice, your gut, your intuition, is in alignment with or similar to what those in the business world may call vertical development, or a high level of emotional intelligence, both of which, when you are more self aware, adaptable, and expansive, you make for a better leader. The business world is much more familiar with a term called horizontal development, where the focus is geared toward skill set. And I'm going to say that it's not only applicable to businesses or the corporate sector, it's applicable to nearly all of society. We have been bred, we have been primed, conditioned for horizontal development, where again, knowledge, skills, and competencies are the focal point. From the time we entered primary school, from the time we entered preschool, we have been conditioned to lean toward horizontal development. So many believe that expansion is gained as a result of learning more cognitively. How can I improve my skills? How many degrees can I get? How many certifications can I get? What other tasks can I learn to do? However, expansion can only come as a result of how you think and how you behave, as a result of changing how you think and how you behave. It can only come by what I believe and what I have found to be true, not only for myself, but for the leaders that I work with. It can only come by pausing in your current state long enough to create balance. Pausing allows us to move away from the familiar. What are we familiar with? We're familiar with doing more. Doing more. So it allows us to move away from that do more approach to a be better, or toward a be better approach. Pausing gives us the capacity to invite the highest expression of self to the table called life. And as I reflected on my mini sabbatical, or my pause, I realized several things were happening during that time. After pondering on what I experienced and thinking about the word pause, I came up with a wonderful acrostic. Now, I love using acrostics and acronyms because I find that they help to not only learn, but also retain new information. So I am actually very excited about this one, mostly probably because I sat and thought about this and reflected on this so long. And it just seems as though it makes it much more tangible when we look at pause and when we talk about pause in terms of what we should be doing or may want to do during that time. So I'm excited about this. And what I know is that there will be something to follow. There's going to be a course, there's going to be a master class, something to take us into a deeper dive on this very topic, what it means to pause, how do we pause, what do we do during our pause. So hopefully you already have your pen and paper. If not, you will want to grab it now and just jot these down. Just jot these down. One of my mentors, Joseph McClendon III, says, "What you write, you invite." Here's what you want to write and invite. Pause. As we are pausing, what we want to do is paint the picture. What would you like life to look like? What would you like life to feel like and be like? We are going to assess our affairs or assess your affairs. Where are you now? Where are you financially? Where are you spiritually? Where are you physically? Where are you mentally? Where are you emotionally? Where are you now? And is that where you desire to be? The U in pause is uncover your unknowns. And this could get really complicated. So I'm simply going to say you will need support with this one. It is impossible to see what we can't see without getting help. There's a saying that the label can't see what's inside of the jar. And so in order for the label to see what's inside of the jar, you would almost have to peel it off, turn it around, and the label can't peel itself, so it requires assistance. The S in pause is silence your skeptic. And there I'm referring to negative mind chatter. And then the E in pause is elevate your existence. Elevate your existence. I don't know about you all, but that is so good to me. Just saying that feels so good. And sharing this with you, it gets me excited. This is why I know I have to conduct either a master class or a course on this, because hearing, like for me, I know doing a training is going to elevate me. Elevate your existence is so, it's thought provoking, it's stimulating, it is inspiring for me. And I hope it is the same for you. Like, become curious and begin to wonder, what would that look like? What would that feel like? What does it mean to elevate my existence? And I'll give those to you again. You want to pause. To pause, you are going to paint your picture, assess your affairs, uncover your unknowns, silence your skeptic, and elevate your existence. I can't say enough about that one. Not elevate your life, not elevate your bank account, not elevate in your job, elevate your existence, your very existence. If you're like me, you may be questioning whether or not that's even possible. And I will leave you with something I read recently. And unfortunately, I don't recall the source, and I'm summarizing based on what I can remember. It basically said that children learn naturally. Adults, however, learn intentionally. Is it possible? It is possible. With intention, you can elevate your existence. Now, if you know you've grown exhausted with navigating life's complexities, or you are long overdue for a pause and you're ready to move out of stagnation and into elevation, I want to invite you to go to www.calendly.com/Coach Catherine and book your free 30-minute clarity call. On that call, we will walk through the pause framework. We will get an understanding for what it is that your picture looks like. We will get an understanding of what it is that you are willing to do to assess your fears, your affairs, uncover your unknowns, silence your skeptic, and elevate in your existence. So, as I close out this week, I pray that you will give yourself permission to pause and be intentional. And I just want to remind you that in this life, we get to choose. So choose to listen from the place where your heart speaks and choose to live a sensational life. Peace and blessings.
Thank you for listening to Where Her Heart Speaks with Coach Catherine, where Catherine aims to challenge and disrupt ineffective thoughts and behaviors to help you not only embody peace, joy, calm, and certainty, but also help you live the life you've always dreamed of living. Follow Catherine on Facebook and Instagram at I Am Catherine James, and visit www.catherinejames.com. Remember, to live the life of your dreams, you must go within and return to the place where your heart speaks.